Okay, so today I want to talk about why it shouldn't really matter to you whether Donald Trump is president or not. The reason why it should not matter to a lot of these content creators whether Donald Trump is president or not is because um, most of them, they don't really work a 9 to 5 jobs. Their entire job is producing content on YouTube. And it shouldn't really matter to them whether Donald Trump is president, whether we talk about Brian Tyler Cohen, whether we talk about Kyle Kolinski, whether we talk about Crystal Heavilies, and the list goes on. They make millions off YouTube by just producing videos. And then s- some of them, they just monetize their content based on talking about one individual. What I also want to say is if you're from a different country, whether Donald Trump is president, it shouldn't really matter to you as well. So, like Crystal Evelise, he's from Canada, he lives in Canada, his country is run by a prime minister. So, whether Donald Trump is president or not, it does not really matter to him because he lives in a different country. So, he should focus in Canadian politics. And then there is a YouTuber by the name of Beyond America. I believe he has over 300,000 subscribers right now. He created like a YouTube channel. I think it was back in 2024. And he was trying to encourage people to vote for Kamala Harris. And then after Kamala Harris lost the election, and then the Republican Party took control of everything, he went back and focused in Canadian politics. Now, I understand there has been rumors that Donald Trump had been trying to make Canada the 51st state, but the Canadian Prime Minister said that Canada would never, in any shape or form, merge with the United States. Now, what I understand, so what I understand about some YouTuber, they want to inform people about the news, about what's going on in the Trump administration, and etc. And then they want to give their opinion. But we got the media for that. We got NBC, MSNBC, CNN, and then Fox News, Newsmax, and OAN. And a lot of these content creators, they are no different than any of these outlets. They're just propagandists. Who I'm talking about, Brian Tyler Cohen, Crystal Everlees, Kyle Kolinski, they're just propagandists. Their analysis are no different than MSNBC or CNN. Now, there are some who tells you what the media won't tell you. For example, Jimmy Dore. Back in 2021, he had a lot of these anti-vax content, which was able to get his channel to over 1 million subs. But Jimmy Dore ended up being right about COVID. If you're somebody that's fit, that workouts, and you can beat COVID. You don't necessarily have to take the COVID-19 vaccine unless you're somebody who is in the elderly or who is obese. You're the vulnerable one. Joe Rogan was diagnosed with COVID back in 2021, 2022. I can't really remember, but he was diagnosed with COVID. He took therapeutics and He worked out and then he got better quickly from the pandemic. So those are people whose analysis are way different than corporate media analysis. Jimmy Dore is one example. But the rest, the Kolinski, the Cohen, the Crystal Heavilies, they're nothing more than propagandists. And what I also find ironic is Brian Tyler Cohen want to make it seem like, oh, the media is the Democrats' enemy. But but him along with the media were pushing that narrative that Biden was fine, that no, it was Donald Trump that was in cognitive decline. And I remember last year when Trump was at the rally, he shook one of his sons, Don Jr.'s hand. He got community noted for making it seem like, oh, it was Trump that was in cognitive decline when he was just shaking his son's hand. And then he was walking off the stage. So whether Donald Trump is president, it should not really matter to a lot of these content creators. And it sure as heck should not really matter to Crystal Evelise, who lives in Canada and who's from Canada and lives in Canada. He does not do business in the he does not do business in the United States. Lauren Chen did business in the United States. She used to live in Canada. She's from Canada and she lived in Canada, but she did business in the United States. She was a she went to university in the United States. She went to UCLA and then she went to another university and then graduated with a political science degree. And then she interned for Paul Ryan. And then she was traveling from Canada to the United States because she was working for the Blaze for like 3 years, our first stint with the Blaze. And then when she left in 2021 and 2023, she went back with the Blaze. And then she was a contributor to CRT TV. And then she was um, a contributor to Turning Point USA. So she did business with the in the US. And then um and then she lived in the United States. She moved from Canada to Tennessee. So her, I understand whether if it matters to her whether Donald Trump is president or not. But Crystal Heavilies, it shouldn't really matter to him whether Donald Trump is president or not. But he's nothing without Donald Trump. He he can only get high views on based off of him, based on monetizing his content and talk about him in a regular basis. Clickbait title, so people can click on his video, and his video doesn't even match his title. 12 minutes of putting all of his propaganda outlets, whether it's CNN, MSNBC talking about Donald Trump and doing 2 minutes of analysis and not saying anything thought provoking or interesting. Now, Kyle Kolinski was a car salesman before he did YouTube full time, he was a car salesman. He graduated with a political science degree from Iowa College. He graduated uh, from the Great Recession, and then he was selling cars, and then he did his own show on YouTube. But it still should not really matter to him whether Donald Trump is president. but I understand he still wants to inform his viewers. But he's no different than Brian Tyler Cohen or any of the mainstream news outlets. Okay, this is all I gotta say.